Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of A Cuppa with. Here to talk about stories and our experiences from mindset to mental health, and in this case it's gonna be my story. Something that has been niggling at me for the last day or two, and I have this theory with myself that if it's constantly in my head, or niggling at me, then it must be time to tell the story. Let's start that one again. I am filled with stories. I've not exactly had the most plainest life, I can tell you that for now. But there are certain things in my life that I haven't ever really discussed with people. Some people know, some people don't, some people know to some degree, because as much as I'm an open person, I'm also very private about certain situations, especially when they involve other people. I just want to go on a disclaimer and say this does involve my kid's dad, and I honestly owe him a great for God's sake, I'll get my words out. I owe him a massive thing of gratitude. I can't get my words out because I'm so I want to get this out. Because in this time in our lives, we went through a very big experience together, something that only us two will ever fully know. And even then, we will only know our own experiences. We cannot experience what each other went through. So, as everybody else knows that, if two people go through the same experience, it's still not the same experience. So, today, the reason why this came up was I saw on Twitter, I love Twitter for the fact that you can talk to people. It's not looks. It's the reason why I love my podcast, because I get to talk to you guys. I give you something what I hope is meaningful, or just a different perspective. And I've done this podcast with people in the pajamas. I've been in my pajamas. I've actually done this podcast while I've been in bed. That shows you how little I can. If I was to do this on video, I would probably do the same. Just informing you. But it came up on Twitter. And people were talking about the NHS. It just came up. I can't remember who specifically said it. And doctors and stuff like that. And I have a very big thing with the NHS. People are so bad-mouthed the NHS, and it pisses me the fuck off, because you want to go to another country and not get the same treatment. You know what? You complain about the NHS, and don't get me wrong, it's not a system that runs swimmingly, but that's because it's underfunded and the people in it are overworked. Yes, you can badmouth it as much as you want, but at the end of the day, are you paying for being able to walk into an A&E, say, help me, and by any standard, they are not allowed to let you leave until you are well enough to leave? Try doing that in another country. Try doing that in America when you don't have health insurance. Try doing that in Africa. Try doing that in any other fucking country apart from, there's obviously other ones that have their own healthcare as well, but not many. Well, one of the only countries that does their own health service that's provided for people and has been for years. Sorry, big beef. I plan on working for the NHS to help out in the future when I'm a psychologist. And my sister currently works for the NHS. She's a midwife, which I am so proud of her for. But yes, there was none about it. And for me, the NHS has been my saviour. When I found out I was pregnant at 6 months gone and 17, I had an NHS to fall back on that helped me when I didn't even understand who the fuck I was. The NHS has helped my children, and they help my children every day by providing them with free healthcare so they can live in the world. My daughter is diabetic. She is able to have insulin, not die. Well done. Also, that my son is on the spectrum. Without his melatonin, he can't sleep. And, or if he does, it's not for very fucking long. Let me tell you, I've had some very long sleepless nights. But without them, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I'm very much all support the NHS. So yeah, anybody's got beef with the NHS, they've got beef with me. I'm gonna say beef because I'm gonna take it to the streets because I'm hardcore. All right, maybe I'm not. But yeah, I was talking about that, and my personal reason why I love the NHS was a year before my son was born, I had an ectopic pregnancy. Now, I haven't talked about this to many people, but I feel it's a subject that people go, is that the one where it gets stuck in the tube? And they're like, yeah, that's one way of putting it. Let me just tell you now, ectopic pregnancy is not just the egg gets stuck in the tube. It can actually be outside of the womb entirely. Like, it can go around the other way. It is a fertilized egg that's travelled and it's got stuck in any other place but where it's supposed to be. Problem with is it's fertilized, so it grows. Well, if it's not where it's supposed to be and it's growing, you're gonna have complications. Now, the obvious one would be if it was stuck in the tube, eventually the tube would expand. Obviously, this egg is expanding. Now, the egg itself will not be of anything. It would have started out as a healthy egg, possibly. Obviously, we don't know what it would have grown into. But due to the fact that it's been compressed and not being able to grow, it would just be a blob. Best way to put it. It's a fertilized egg, but it's not going to do anything. And just to let you know, if anybody's, I found this really, women get pregnant all the time. It just doesn't stick, so it gets flushed out. There's something to scare you. Oh, only joking. At the time, I'll tell you the full story. At the time, me and my kid's dad, we had decided to leave London, and we'd come to the conclusion that we wanted our daughter to have a brother or sister, and he wasn't ready to leave London. I wanted another child, but I wasn't prepared to have another child in London. So I said when he was ready to leave London and come to live in Sheffield, well, come to live anywhere that's not London, then I would have another kid. I thought that was a decent compromise, and that's exactly what happened. We moved out of London, moved to Sheffield, and obviously we started trying. And I fell pregnant. I remember taking the pregnancy test and it being very faint, but it was definitely a positive. We was currently in the mix of having our flat renovated by the council. So it was, you could imagine, first find out you're pregnant, I'm currently sleeping in the living room because the windows are being pulled out, and it's a mess, absolute mess. So we were only just getting that sorted and fixed. My daughter had gone to stay at my aunt's because it wasn't safe to stay while they were spending like a month fixing all this. So it was better for her to go stay at my aunt's. So woohoo, we're pregnant. Thought, right, told people like, yay, we're pregnant. Would have only been about 6 weeks. So for the next couple of weeks we just carried on as usual, waiting for the council to pull everything out, put everything back in, go to work, and I was so tired, but I kept getting this pain in my right, where my right tube would have been. Like, I know now would have been my right tube, but I just thought it was growing pains through that, and the stress of everything, and I was tired and I was working, and I just kind of just put up with it, Like, I found I was pregnant with my daughter when I was 6 months. Everything was hidden, so I literally had nothing else to go on. So, well, hey, this is just normal. And I would sleep a lot. I was so very tired. That's a lot of tiredness. If you're so and very in one sentence, it's a lot. And I would literally go to work, come home, sleep, sleep, eat, sleep, 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 get up, have some breakfast, go to work, get up. That was literally. My kid's dad was in the one in the house sorting out for the council, and one night we were about, I would have been about 9 weeks pregnant, probably going on about 10, and I started bleeding. And it was like, oh shit, we've been trying for about a year before we found out, because this was in about end of March, beginning of April. Yeah, beginning of April. And so we've been here about a year, and we've been trying to get pregnant, so you can imagine it's like, yay. And then you start bleeding, you're like, oh. I'd kind of consoled myself to think it was a miscarriage. But I was getting a lot of fucking pain. A lot of pain. Called the doctors, called the out of, because it was weekend, so I called the out of emergency team. They said, like, see how it goes. If you're still bleeding, by tomorrow, go see a doctor. I was still bleeding. So I called the doctor again. They said, get yourself down to the hospital. This was like Sunday. Get yourself down to the hospital. This was by May, should I say? Yeah, May. So I'd known for, about 3-4 weeks by this time. So May comes along. So the Sunday night, they go, get yourself down to the hospital, get yourself checked out. Gets into doctors and gets into hospital. Lovely man. Very kind and caring, bless him. And he just pretty much confirmed what I thought. Sounds like a miscarriage. And I was like, but I'm in a lot of pain. And he's like, to be fair, every miscarriage is different. I'm very sorry. It was very consoling, bless him. But you could see something was niggling at him. And he was just like, and you kind of saw how gutted we were going through this. And all the time, I'd say my kid's dad's with me all the way through it. And he just like, the doctor was like, you know what, to be on the safe side, let's get you in for a scan, an internal scan. Now, it's not exactly the nicest thing in the world, but let's get you in tomorrow for an internal scan, just to be on the safe side. Because you could see something was niggling at him, and it was just like, I'd rather be safe than sorry. He didn't say what, but he just was like, I want to make sure. Because it's very light bleeding, it's not exactly like you've completely gone. It's very light bleeding. There's a small chance that it could still be there. If not, we want to make sure that everything is okay. And I was like, well, this seems a bit pointless just to go through all this, just to see that it's either an empty egg or it's already gone. And but you know, better safe than sorry. So as you can imagine, we got home feeling like shit. And I woke up the next morning in excruciating pain. Literally, I was laid on the bathroom floor in tears because I was in so much pain, and I kept holding my right side, and I just didn't want to. Bless my kid's daddy, he was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, you're in pain and I don't know what to do. It's not like I can take it away from you. I can just sit here looking and feeling useless. And bless him, he still sat there by me, but still, that's not the point. It's like when you see somebody you love and care about in pain or upset or feeling sick, as I've done many times with my children, you wish you can take it away. So we were like, fuck it, I got myself moving enough, and we walked it to the hospital because we'd only been here a year, so we less than a year, so we'd just under a year, and we didn't know all the bus routes, so we was walking it to the hospital. So the hospital's a fair bit away, and in pain, and I just moved it, and basically gets to the hospital. My scan was at 10. Gets in. Hello, Miss Grafton, if you'd like to get undressed and put this on and we'll start the scan. And lovely woman next to me, you alright, love? You know, you're managing okay. I know this is a hard experience for you. We'll do the best we can. Bloody lovely. And they did all the thing. Oh, it's cold. It's cold. It's cold. If any woman's had a smear or a scan, you've got my... It's cold. And he was touching on it, and it was sore and achy and in pain as he was touching on my right side. And he was like... He went a bit quiet. And then he went, you've got an ectopic and you need to be in surgery now. And I was like, what? And he went, you're about 9 weeks, and if we don't get you into surgery, your tube could rupture at any point and cause internal bleeding, and if that goes, then having an ectopic pregnancy is the least of your worries. He said it more tactfully than I'm saying it, but you can imagine the fear. Because Dad didn't know what to do, I didn't know what to do, my daughter's not with me, like, luckily enough she weren't, and I don't have a parent to call, I don't have any, like, I don't have a mum to rely on, my sister is miles away, they are not two people that I can call in an emergency, to be fair. Like, I don't speak to my mum, and my sister, I love her, but we're not exactly the closest. And the only person I could think to call was my aunt. And my aunt was like, okay, now what's going on? Like, my aunt, I love her to death. My aunt is this 4'0" ball of anger, emotions, but nothing but love at the same time. And she cares so deeply. And because I don't have a relationship with my mum, she's been like my second mum since my nan died. And she's like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, I told her what had happened, I'm in floods of tears, and she's like, what's happening? Like, calm down, because I couldn't breathe. And she was like, I told her what had happened. I goes, and basically, they'd done the scan at 10, and I was in at 2. I hadn't even had time to take it in, what was going in. I'll be honest, I don't remember those 4 hours. I sort of remember them getting me into a bed, getting me prepared, telling me what was going to happen. I don't remember what was going to happen. My kid's dad's next to me, like, yep, I don't know what's going on here. All I just fear is they've told me that the person I love could possibly die if they don't have this surgery done. And it was they literally squeezed me in to have keyhole surgery, to go in through my belly button, just underneath my belly button where your hips are, one in each side, keyhole surgery, to shove something in, to flush it out. And they said to me, look, if needs be, are you okay with us taking out the tube? I was like, well, if it's screwed, like, and it's ripped to shreds, what is the point of leaving it in? Because basically, once you've had an ectopic, there's always a chance, and I think it's around 65% chance if you have an egg going through that way, then you have a 65% chance. I don't know if it's been lowered or up since I last checked, so you can look at the records yourself, but a high percentage of it happening again, if it sounds like, well, rip that bastard out, because I'm not going through this again, and I really don't like the chances of dying. Like, so this is scary enough when you told me I'm pretty much on the edge of internal bleeding anyway. And I only came in to, like, rather be safe than sorry. So I called my aunt. My aunt texted me, just checking in. Kid's dad sat there beside me, like, what the fuck do I do? Like, there's nothing I can do. What do I do? I'm trying to process all this. And they literally, within an hour, they'd already got me a time. I was prepped as soon as possible, and I say I had my scan at 10. I was operated at about 2:15. Don't ask me if I remember going down. Don't ask me if I remember going out. Don't ask me what I remember coming around, because I don't remember any of it. I remember partially coming around after, because I was on morphine. Fucking hell, that's a drug and a half. And seeing Philip and just screaming in pain. I was in so much pain. And I don't think it was just physical. I'm actually getting emotional thinking about it. It wasn't just the physical pain, it was the emotional pain. Because I was like, what the fuck just happened to me? What happened? 1 minute, 4 days ago, we were planning to have a second child. Now, I'm high as a kite in excruciating pain, and my kid's dad's next to me going, I'm here, but I don't know what to do. I slept for a lot of the day. A lot. And that's my kid's dad. He was walking backwards and forth because our poor dog, I was like, where the fuck are you going again? And not only that, but the council was still finishing up with their last few bits on the house, so he's having to go in and out, in and out, in and out. And also he had to go drop off the hospital note at my work, tell him what happened, which was horrendous. Having to go back. No. So I guess next day I'm sat in hospital, finally starts coming around. I just can't move. I don't know if it was emotional, physical, or anything like that. I just can't move. And the lovely old lady next to me, she was like, oh, your fella, he's been back and forth, he's been lovely, as making sure you're okay. And I was like, like, has he? And he'd been waiting for visiting hours, even though if he'd just asked, they could have probably let him in. But, you live and learn. But I was really weak. I was really, 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 really weak. And they just assumed it was the shock. I'd gone through something very dramatic. They said I was so close to my tube had stretched literally as far as it could go, and it could have burst at any moment if it had. And I just still assumed it would have been a miscarriage. I wouldn't be here today. I was a ticking time bomb, basically. That if it hadn't have been for that doctor just making sure I was okay, and making sure that it was just a miscarriage, and making sure that in case, because it was light bleeding, it was, I bled because I didn't know about my daughter, and I bled for the first couple of months, what would have been the first couple of months for her. So, he wanted to be sure, because as I found out with my daughter, miracles can happen. And if it hadn't been for him, I wouldn't be talking to you today. You wouldn't be hearing my voice. I don't know what would have happened to my daughter. I mean, don't get me wrong, my kid's dad would have fought to the very end to keep her, but, she was born outside that stupid rule that says, like, if the kids were born before 2003, and even if the dad's name is on the certificate, then the dad has no rights. It's really weird. But we're now luckily in a time where all those children are now of 16, so they get to have a say. And I said, sidetracked there. So I'm really weak. and he's been absolutely brilliant. I'm trying to process the fact that I was a ticking time bomb. They still don't know how I managed to keep going that far, because they say usually around between 9 to 12 weeks is when it basically, because it's not supposed to take it. It's a tiny tube. Like, it's not meant to have something growing inside of it. It's meant to just flow through, just get stuck on the womb wall and continue growing. And I couldn't move. I couldn't. At the time, I was emotional as well. I was trying to eat, but didn't feel like eating. A woman next to me was like, "Love, you gotta eat. You gotta gain your strength." I was just like, I can't. I needed a wee, and my kid's dad had to actually carry me, and he was like, "No, there's something not right here. Like, even though she's been through this, it doesn't seem right that she can't even hold her own body weight." And she was like, he went and just like, something's not right. Something's not right. And it was like, the doctors were like, well, we'll do a blood test, make sure. We've got to do a blood test anyway, so we'll check everything. And they came back and went, "Oh, we've got to give you 2 packets of blood. Your iron count is so ridiculously low that if we don't, you're gonna, I can't remember how low it was, but it was so low that I could have easily just gone to sleep again and not woken up. So they gave me 2 packets of blood, and because obviously I was, everything that I was going through, I was like told again, "Oh, by the way, just as you think you're recovering, you're not quite recovering, because you now need blood. And if you don't have blood, you're only going to get worse." And I was like, "There's a worse than how I'm feeling now? Are you mad? Okay then." And so it gets, I'm going to wait for them to give me the blood, and I just want to go home. I just want to go home. I went in on I think it was the 11th or the 12th? No, 13th. Luckily number 13, eh? And I was out on the 15th or 16th. Once my iron levels were enough for me to leave. Yeah, still low. I had to take like these ridiculously strong iron tablets. Like, seriously, I could have just been eating a metal bar, would have still not had enough iron of what was in these tablets. And then, so yeah, I finally got back to normal, got released from hospital, or was normal, physically normal as I could get. They had to check my stitches, and was like, "Ooh, there's a moving." And I walked it down to work. Which again, people like, I was like, "You've just had major surgery." Well, I wouldn't say major, but surgery that literally when you walk, you're in pain, and you're walking it to your work. Because I was just like, I can't just sit around doing nothing. Are you fucking mental? I've done that, and I'm processing stuff as it is. So sitting around waiting for somebody to feel sorry for me is not going to make me feel any better. I walked it after work, try not to cry, walk it home, like, all the time. But it's like, my kid's dad is all like, "Well, we'll get the bus, we'll do this." And I was like, I have to walk. It was the only way I could process it. It wasn't for the need that I was, because I've been sat down for like 4 days. It was helping me process with every step I was walking. It was helping me process what had just happened to me. Like, this whirlwind of Oh, by the way, you're pregnant. Oh, by the way, you're having an ectopic. Oh, by the way, you could die. Oh, by the way, you're in hospital. By the way, you're having a surgery. Oh, by the way, your blood count your iron level so low that if you even continue on for another couple of hours, you're in some serious shit. Here's some blood. Now you bang out, back into the world. Deal with that shit. So I walked because I'd taught myself for many years that you got an issue, you walk it off. Like, no, it's daft, you can't walk off stitches, but you walk it off. And that weekend, I had to go pick up my daughter because in the process of all that going on, my aunt's mother-in-law had died. So my daughter then had to go to my my brother, who I was then close to. Well, she was close to, not me. She would stayed there at my brother's house until I was well enough to come and get her. And it was hard because I just had this ectopic happen, and my brother's sister was my brother's girlfriend was heavily pregnant, which was hard to say the least. It was really hard to kind of, I wish that was me kind of thing. It's really hard to know that you've just gone through all this and you see somebody pregnant and you're like, oh, why isn't that me? What did I do wrong? And so I picked, oh God, I haven't talked about this in so long. And so, like, she was really nice about it. Like, she could tell it was a horrible situation. Not just for me, but for her. Because, like, she's happy with her bump, and she should be. And I'm stood there, like, with stitches. Like, that's all I have to show for it. Stitches. And it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was really fucking hard. And then my daughter was like, "Mummy, what's the matter?" So I just told her that I'd had surgery when I was 6 at the time, and 5 going on 6. I think 5 going on 6, and so she's like, "I don't know what's going on." Well, she wouldn't. Like, she's just like coming with me to doctor appointments and seeing like, oh, mummy's in pain when I'm having the stitches pulled out, and mummy can't walk that far, and daddy's saying be careful with mummy. So, she's like, oh shit, what's going on? I healed, obviously, but it took a massive toll on our relationship. Massive toll. And I don't want to say it was the start of a downfall, but it was definitely something that we both struggled. I can't speak for him, but I struggled to get over with. And then once I'd healed, I was desperately trying to get pregnant again. Like, you're okay now to start trying, but please be careful, and if you do get pregnant again, please come back to us for an early scan. Okay. And then my son came along. Isn't it weird how things work out? They said they'd never seen somebody get pregnant so quick and can be have completely fine pregnancy in anything. He was like the perfect pregnancy. They'd never seen anything like it. Or if one of them had, it was like such a rare case. They was shocked, like, this doesn't happen. He was fine. He is fine. He's perfectly happy and healthy, minus the asthma and the, like, dust mite allergy. But hey, what are you gonna do? But he's perfect to me in every single way, just like my daughter. And that's my story of what an ectopic pregnancy can do to you. Now, I know it sounds like it's been an horrendous story and I've cried a few tears, but I haven't talked about this in quite some time. Like, I tend to keep my feelings separate, but this was 11 years ago. 11 years ago. And I've not talked about it really. People know of it, but my experience of it, I was shitting a brick. How do you process all that? From pure happiness to, oh shit, I'm gonna die. You can't. You go in autopilot. I think both me and my kid's dad did. For my sake, it was just handling what was happening to me. And for him, it's just like, I've got to be there for her. And he was there for me every step of the way. But ectopic pregnancies is something that people don't talk about because it's something we all fear. I know so many women that fear it. I couldn't go through that. I couldn't manage it. You can because you got no choice. Simple as. You can because you've got no choice. I'm okay. I found out, like, they kept my tube, but which is why they were so shocked that I didn't have any complications with my son. I have slight scarring on the other side, so the chances of me having a problem is quite high, yet my son defies the odds. And I'm so grateful to that. I never sought help getting over my issues of what happened. I beg anybody going through this experience, please, please seek help. It's one of the most difficult things to process. You go from utter joy to utter heartache and fear of what's going to happen to you. And if you have any suspicions that this is not, something tells you that this is not normal, doesn't feel right, I'm not sure what's going on here, speak to the doctor. You get pains that are really, like, I was on the floor. You don't get those in pregnancy. You really, really don't. So speak to somebody. Now I can come out the other side and say, I use this as a way to make me stronger. These stories that I tell you are not just stories as much as what I've been through. And it makes me stronger by knowing I've been weak. And physically and mentally. It's not easy for me to talk about this sort of stuff. But I have to. And if it's niggling at me, I obviously wanted to. It's a hard thing to cope with. And if you don't deal with it and try and push it under the carpet, and I'm going to say this to you women, not just for you. Yes, it happened to your body. But your partner lost a child too. Your partner lost somebody as well. So grieve together. I never did that with my kid's dad, and I think that was one of the things that was detrimental to us, was that we never grieved together. We tried to do it our own way to show each other we'd be strong for each other, and all we did was fuck each other up. I think all we did was make things worse for each other by trying to make things better because we were doing what we thought each other needed, rather than actually asking what each other needed. And men, I can't really speak from your side as I'm not your gender, obviously. But knowing that you're there for us speaks volumes. Please don't think you're being useless because you're not able to take it away or anything. You being by our side, not saying a word, means everything to us. Cry if you need to. Fuck it. It'll probably help us more if you did cry. I'm not even gonna lie. Don't hide it. Cry. You've lost something too. It took two people to make a child. It's going to take two people to mourn that child. Even if it wasn't technically a child, whatever people want to claim, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But even if you don't see it as a child, it was a potential. It was a possibility, and it was happiness for you too. So please, don't try and deal with it separately. Yes, you have your own emotions, but you were in it together. If you made the child together, then grieve together. There's only so much you could do on your own. You're not a one-man army. Last time I checked, it takes two people to make a relationship work. So that would be my word of advice. Don't try doing what you think the other person needs. Actually ask what the other person needs. They might not actually need anything, but to know that you're there. I learned the hard way. Don't learn the hard way. Just ask. Sometimes it's the hardest thing to do, but I can guarantee you that something, even a small nugget of good, will come out of it. So yes, this has been an emotional ride. Anybody who's gone through an ectopic pregnancy, going through an ectopic pregnancy, my feelings for you are so there. I'm with you. Been there, done that, bought a t-shirt. So again, you have my sympathy, my empathy, and if I could, I'd give you a hug, because it's hard. It's a hard fucking thing to process. And I hope nobody ever goes through it. I hope that everybody has a perfectly well pregnancy, but there are going to be complications, and this is one of them. So don't do it alone. Don't be alone. You have people around you that love and care for you. I tried to do it alone, and I only made things worse. So, on that note, my people, I'm sending my love to you for whatever situation you're going through. Whoever's pregnant, and bringing a bundle of joy into this world. And if anybody's asking me any questions about am I having any more, fuck no, I'm done. For my personal thing was always never have more kids than you have hands. And as my eldest is 16 going on 17, I think I'm pretty much done. Yes, my daughter is going to be the same age this year as I had her. That is scary. But until next time, people, good day, good brew.